Okay. Hello, welcome to Lunch Break Live. Chef Denise from China, take it away.
Hi，你好，大家，我是白老师，我是在宁波中国的，我住在宁波已经有23年。Hi everyone, I'm Denise. You can probably tell from my accent that I'm Australian. I've been living in China for 23 years here in Ningbo. So today we're going to be making Ma Po tofu, or as the locals say, Ma Po tofu. So just before we get started, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our dish. Tofu is actually pronounced tofu. Okay, tofu actually the name, I believe it's came from Japan, but the dish is about it's about 200 years ago they started making it here in China, and it actually means pockmarked old woman tofu. So today we're going to be making pockmarked tofu, old woman tofu. So I'm just chopping up some greens here at the moment. We've got some capsicum. The main ingredient in this dish is actually a soft tofu, one of the silken tofus. There's 5 different types of tofu, and we were having a bit of a conversation before about how many, just before we started the video, and we're talking about how many different types of tofu there actually are here in China. I went and saw my tofu seller this morning because we've been living on tofu for a while now. Ma Po tofu, I've been making it over and over again. It's as common as mashed potatoes for Chinese people. And he had so many different types of tofu. So you can get braised, you can get dried. My favorite is actually frozen tofu. And what happens is when you freeze tofu, it goes a yellow color, which strangely enough. So it sort of reverts back to the color of the beans. And it becomes like sponge. You know, like SpongeBob SquarePants? That's sort of spongy. And it's really nice for soaking up gravies and liquids. We don't use frozen tofu in Ma Po tofu though. The Ma Po tofu is sort of like a creamy, soft tofu. You do actually have to be fairly careful when you're making it, not to stir it around too much, because otherwise it goes all mushy.
Again, welcome to Lunch Break Live. We are here with Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine's One Healthy World program, which is bringing the beautiful messages and education about plant-based foods, whole food, to the world. We are here with Food for Life instructor Denise Bradford, and we're going to take it away with the next steps. Go for it.
Okay, so what we've got here is this is some chopped. In Australia, we say capsicums, but I believe America you say peppers. These are not hot, these are not spicy. We've got red and we've got green, and they're chopped very finely. Okay? And then the next is about a pound, which I worked out is 450 grams. We use the metric in Australia and in China, but that's a pound of soft tofu. And you can see that I've cut it into cubes. Okay? And it's sort of like jelly-like. We have ginger. I love ginger. Ginger is so good for increasing the circulation. It helps to keep you warm, full of nutrients. And we've also got some garlic, and that's nicely chopped up there. Okay. And this dish has the flavor comes from soy sauce. Soy sauce, by the way, is actually fermented soybeans. So it is part of, it's part of the same sort of genre of fermented soy foods. Tofu is actually considered fermented. It's made very much the same way as cheese, by the way. And we also have what's known as doubanjiang, and this is a fermented bean paste and it's very, very fragrant. This one is not spicy. It's just mild spice. Ma Po tofu often has a lot of really, really strong spices put in it. This particular recipe is much more acceptable to most people, particularly to people who are not very familiar with strong tasting Chinese food. Okay, and then we've also got some corn flour or cornstarch, I believe it's called, and I've used a bit of mushroom stock, a vegetable stock. I make my own vegetable stock. I made that last night. Just soak that, and then let's get started. So I'm going to pop my cooker on, my hot plate on. Now, just looking at, while we're waiting for this to heat up, by the way, tofu is really good for you. I would say that I eat tofu every day. I have what's known as a tofu smoothie, which is a dark smoothie, and it's got blueberries and tofu and orange juice and flax seeds, and it's really healthy. It helps to balance all the hormones. In fact, if you are a woman who is getting close to menopause or in menopause, tofu is one of those staple foods you should be, well, if you consume it every day, you'll find a huge reduction in your symptoms of menopause. It's also very good for men as well. Tofu's got lots of phytonutrients in it, so it's cancer protective. So it's one of those foods you really need to sort of have a look and include in your diet. So let's see how we're going here. Just waiting to see if that gets heated up. Now, just some fun facts while we're waiting. We don't really know how tofu was invented. It was made, it's one of those really old foods. It was made probably about 2,000 years ago in China. So its origins are in China. And it started to spread throughout South Asia and Southeast Asia through Buddhism, because it was seen as the signature dish for people who were going plant-based. Of course, Buddhism is about not eating animals. So it just ended up spreading throughout Asia, and through the monks as they took the idea of Buddhism and living kindly. I think, turn that down a little bit.
Now, will you show us the tofu again? And we do have a question. Do you use a tofu press?
The tofu press. I have got a tofu press, but I won't go and get it now. I didn't make this tofu, but I have made my own tofu before. And a tofu press looks very much like a cheese press. If anybody has ever made cheese, it's a container that has a whole lot of holes in it, in the bottom and in the sides, and you put a cloth in it, you put your cheese, or in this case the tofu, and then you close the cloth, and then you put a weight on top and it squeezes the water out. It's the same process.
Welcome to Lunch Break Live. Again, we are here as a partnership with Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine's One Healthy World, featuring Food for Life instructors. This is Denise, and she has helped create one of the first centers in China providing plant-based education and resources, called the Essential Wellness Center. Now, you also have the Healthy Family Nutrition Program. Would love to hear more about that. Take it away.
Well, we designed the Healthy Family Nutrition Program to suit the Chinese family. In China, eating is very much a family affair. And so we found that a lot of families, if you had an individual that had decided that they're going to go plant-based, then it was very hard on the family, on the individual, if the family didn't support them. So our approach is to actually bring the whole family in and help them to gradually increase the amount of plant-based foods that they have in their diet. So just to recap with the recipe, I was stir-frying the onion and the garlic to bring out the flavour. and I used a little bit of my mushroom stock, my veggie stock. You can use any sort of veggie stock to make sure that it didn't stick to the pan. This is a healthy version of mapo tofu, so we don't use oil. And I've got.
Would you mind also explaining that in Mandarin while you're at it? Thank you so much.
是这样子的，如果你是我们的那个中国朋友，就是看到这个，你可能就是看到我没有放油，我就是用就是那个这个是蘑菇汤，为什么不用油？因为油是对我们身体没有这么大的好处。然后就是炒菜的时候是这样子，如果是先放油，那个灰都有很多油，就是对我们的肺有伤害的，所以不要用油。我们是可以做菜，中国菜是可以做的，只是不用油的。然后我是这样子的，我现在把它炒一下，那个味道就会出来。Okay, 然后 now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the soy sauce. 我现在加一点酱油。And what's known as doubanjiang. I think it's broad bean paste. Let me see. What do we call it in hot broad bean paste? I'm so used to calling it doubanjiang. 所以我现在是加一点doubanjiang。这个doubanjiang是不是辣的？那我们的中国朋友是这样子的，外国人他刚刚开始吃中国的菜，他可能就是没有吃到那个味道这么浓 ，OK， 所以就是可能这个菜应该是很辣的，就是麻婆豆腐平常就是那个四川菜，它放很多那个调料是这样子的。Now, what I'm doing is I'm stir frying the flavors all together. It's really fragrant here at the moment. Okay, may put just a tiny little bit of liquid in. The thing about this dish is you don't want it to get too liquidy because you like to have sort of I'm surely going to add some corn flour. So I'm going to add my tofu now. And this is the secret of this is to not stir it too much, okay? If you stir too vigorously, now I'm going to see if I can just get this so you can have a look. Can you see that?
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, it looks divine. And the flavors are just really popping there. Now, you have been plant-based for 40 years, and wow, you've perfected the art of eating plant-based and healthy. How did you make your way to China via Australia? And now here you are with this beautiful center in the town of 7 million people, the small village that you are now impacting. Take it away.
Well, what happened was when I was 18 years of age, I went nursing. And this is a very long story. But I went nursing, and while I was nursing, I met a man who was a man in his 80s who was a Seventh-day Adventist. He was visiting some of the patients on missionary work, just coming, keeping them company on a Sunday. Anyway, I started talking to him. He was so incredibly healthy, and it turns out he was plant-based or vegetarian. And I asked him about it, and he told me, and I was just fascinated. I ended up reading a book by someone called Francis Moore Lapp, and it's called Diet for a Small Planet. And I literally became plant-based overnight. That was 40 years ago. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm 58. I'm nearly 60 years of age. Just turning this down a little bit. So I'm just going to turn this on low. Very low. I'm just going to let those flavors simmer for a little while, and then I will plate it for you. But what happened was then shortly after, while I was nursing, I saw all these people who were sick, who were there because of lifestyle problems. quite possibly about 90 or 95% of people in the hospital were there because of lifestyle and health issues caused by what they ate and just not exercising and all of that. So anyway, I ended up studying Chinese at university, and then I went to Taiwan and I studied there, and they had lots of vegan and vegetarian restaurants there, and I thought I was in plant-based heaven. And then many years later, when I married my Shanghai husband, we came to China. That was about 23 years ago now, and we have two beautiful daughters who are both bilingual. Biracial bilingual. They're now in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm still here. We have a mission here at Essential Wellness to bring plant-based way of living to Chinese people. And I don't know if anybody really thinks about this, but China has, I think it's almost a third of the world's population. And so it's a very important market to help people to go plant-based. So we're just going to plate this.
Incredible. That really brings it home to think about a third of the population of the world. And, you know, so much is being brought forth about our climate and our crisis that we're in and how important it is to switch to plant-based. And this dish is something for everyone. Look at this. It's just divine, delicious, savory, and scrumptious. What are you putting on top?
I'm just putting some chopped onions, some scallion, Indian yangsung. Okay, so this is, let me see if we can sort of get this.
Oh my goodness. Gorgeous. Thank you so much, Chef Denise and Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, One Healthy World. You can sign up now, and Food for Life instructors, you can be one as well. Head over to PCRM.org, take a look. Can we get one more close-up of that food as we head out? And thank you, everybody, for enjoying this with us, and we'll see you next time here on Lunch Break Live.